We are going to look at pillars to sustain economic value. And as I said, this is one framework, one concept that when I began to study and to understand, it began to change the way I see life, the way I make money, the way I build wealth, even the way I make mistakes, right? People don't make the same type of mistakes. There are different quality of mistakes. There are some mistakes that when you make, it's just stupidity. It just destroy you. But there are some mistakes that when you make, it makes you a better person, and you can convert the lessons from those mistakes into a life-changing breakthrough or open doors. All right. It's good to make mistakes because you are doing something, but avoid making stupid mistakes. People make a lot of stupid mistakes, right? But there are stupid mistakes and there are mistakes that are critical for your rising. All right. I always encourage people, make sure that when you're making mistakes, make destiny building mistakes. Don't make mistakes out of stupidity, bad behavior, rebellion, bad character. Those are stupid mistakes that on the many times cost most people their destiny, right? But make sure that you are let's say, two ladies, Mary and Jane, or Mary and, I don't know, Mary and Joanne. I'm just thinking of names. You see, let's say Joanne she lacks character, she lacks the ability to just, respond to advice, and then she makes the mistake of giving birth out of wedlock. No, that's nothing wrong, nothing really. It doesn't mean that she's going to die, right? But that's just a stupid mistake. But if Mary at the same age started to buy and sell foodstuff or buy and sell dresses, and during one of her trips she was duped, or her money was stolen, that's a building mistake. She will know next time how to manage money, how to transfer money, and how to be a better steward of what she has as financial resources. You get the difference. So it's either you're making stupid mistakes or you're making building mistakes. Sadly, many people make a lot of stupid mistakes in their lives. And I hope that you are not there, or you outgrow that and focus on, what? I want to focus on making building mistakes. Okay. So I want to share on the pillars that you can begin to practice in order to sustain economic value. Let me tell you something. Let me ask a question. Who is here that one of your major goals for the next, anybody who has sense, right? Anybody who is growth oriented, this should be one of your major goals. But let me ask, let me not assume. Who is here that intentionally, consciously, you have that self-awareness that one of your major goals for the next, it could be 5 years, 10 years, is to consistently increase how much comes into your life financially each year? That means you want to increase your annual income. You want to increase it consistently. It's not something like you consciously, it's something you are aware, you're conscious. Let's say, for example, last year, that last year, your total annual income was 5 million. And this year, your goal is that I want my annual income to be 10 million or 8 million. And in the third year, you want it to be 15 million. Who is here that you consciously, you have that as part of your goals, just to year after year push your financial growth in terms of income? Type me in the chat box if that's you. It's a conscious, self-aware plan. And sometimes I'll be surprised that many people don't have that. People, they just exist financially, right? And for those who are typing me, if I want to push this further, I can now challenge you to tell me, you should know exactly, you know what? In 2025, my total annual income was 5 million. In 2026, my goal is that this year's annual income should be 7 million. in 2027, if I ask you right now, you should give me numbers for the next 3 years or the next 5 years, then it means that you are self-aware. It's a conscious plan, and you are intentional at recording that kind of success. If you don't have that, make sure you do. If you're going to have it from today, you're going to sit down and work on it. And to start working on it, please calculate your income for last year. How much came in into your life financially last year? You can average it, all right? And then set a goal for this year. You can add the previous months for this year and then set a new goal for this year. And then have what to attract into your life financially in 2027 and even 2028. If you are going to do that, type the word repent in the chat box. You are repenting from not being self-aware in that area and consciously having a strategic action plan towards doing that. All right. Coming back to our topic for today, I want to talk on the pillars to sustain economic value. I was asking that question because what I wanted to say was that if you are going to see your finances, your annual income grow year after year, this is one thing you must know how to do and you must have into your life. All right. You see, I have had the privilege to have people to sit on important tables, to just have friends that are very intelligent, friends doing amazing work. And sometimes they ask they ask quality questions. They ask questions that when I listen to, when I hear, they challenge me and they make me a better person. And there is one question, there is one phrase that I was having a discussion with an elderly person, and he listened to me. He did not really ask a question, but he made a statement that was very powerful. And the statement was, you have economic value. Please note this. This is very important. You have economic value. You see, not every individual has economic value. When an elite thinker, when somebody who sees life differently, when somebody says to you that you have economic value, they are not just complimenting your intelligence. There are so many intelligent, broke people with no economic value. The person is not complimenting your personality. Oh, you are beautiful, you are tall and handsome. That's stupid, right? They're not complimenting that. They are not even complimenting your efforts. You see, but intelligence, efforts, even your personality, these things are important. But when somebody says that you have economic value, what they're doing is they're making a very important assessment of what you can bring into the marketplace. And that assessment is based on your capacity. And this is not just basic capacity. No. For example, the ability to read is capacity, right? The ability to write is a capacity. But when somebody says that you have economic value, what they're doing is that they are assessing your capacity to produce outcomes that people or institutions can consider to be useful, to be important, to be profitable to what they're doing, to be transformative to the extent that they are willing to pay. Okay, for example, let me pick George. George runs a recruitment firm in that area of work, in that industry. If I say that George has economic value, what I'm saying is that after listening to George, after observing him, what I'm saying is that from my assessment, I have seen that George has the capacity to produce outcomes that individuals and even institutions consider useful, consider important, and even look at it to be profitable, to be transformative, to the extent that they are willing to pay George for it. This is very important. What I'm saying is look at yourself. Do you have specific, unique capacity that can produce relevant outcomes to individuals or institutions that when they look at those outcomes, that individual or that company can consider that outcome to be useful to them, to be important to them, to be profitable to them, to be transformative to them, to the extent that they are willing to pay you for. That means you have economic value. And here's the thing, everyone on this call, you have economic value. The challenge is many people don't know that they do. You see, because if I say that Asheri or Clinton or Madame Delphine, if I say that you have economic value, what I'm saying is I am seeing you through a lens, and that is the lens of contribution. There is a capacity you have that you can contribute something to individuals or to an institution. When I say that you have economic value, I am looking at you through the lens of exchange. This is very important. The lens of exchange. What do you have that you can exchange with an individual or with an institution that they give you money? All right, this is very important. So basically, the basic foundation of economic value is fundamentally about usefulness, being useful. Are you useful to individuals, to institutions, to the extent that they consider you to be important and profitable, to the extent that they are willing to pay for you? So if I look at you and I say that you have economic value, right? What I'm saying is, when I observe what you do, when I listen to you, when I sit with you, I see that you possess either abilities, you possess insights, you possess relationships. And people don't see. There are some people that just the people that they know. It brings a lot of economic value. You possess systems. It could be influence that you have. Right? So when I say that you have economic value, there is something I have seen in your life. You possess either an ability, a unique insight about something, or relevant relationships, or systems, or influence that can create meaningful benefit for people or organizations in ways that they will happily reward you financially. So look at yourself right now. Look at yourself right now. Just do a quick self-analysis. And maybe after this call or for the next few days, really sit with yourself, get a pen, get a book, and just analyze yourself for the purpose of looking at what kind of you know capacities do I have that give me economic value. And for some of you, it will challenge you. You will see that you have work to do. You will notice that you have plenty work to do, and you will see why you struggle financially. I'm telling you, just this simple explanation can make you see why you're struggling financially, why you struggle to see your financial life grow consistently year after year. See, I hope that you get this. If you get this perspective, it will change you as a person, as a professional, as a business person. Okay? So you need to begin to work on this. So today I want to focus, as I said, this series is on the pillars to sustain economic value. So today I'll talk about the first pillar. Okay, I said abilities, insights, relationships, systems, or influence, and others can be added to that. All right. Now, the first pillar that I believe is very important to sustain economic value, and it doesn't matter your level of education, even where you are. If you begin to work on this pillar, you can begin to change a lot in your life and financially, right? It is the pillar of value creation and value capturing. For those who have been mentees for more than 2 or 3 years, especially last year, I taught a lot around value creation. So today I'm going to focus much more on value capturing. All right. But the first pillar, if you're going to have sustained economic value, if you're going to see your financial life, especially in terms of what comes in on a consistent basis, if you're going to see it grow, you need to make sure that the pillar of value creation and value capturing is in your life. I have said many times to you guys that if you're one of those who make this funny excuse that, oh, I am where I am in life because I don't have money. You see, that's the reason why you will remain where you are in life. I'm not a prophet of doom. I'm just saying that you don't understand that money is a consequence of something. Because you don't have money, it is proof that there is something you don't have. Because money follows something. Now, why am I sharing this? People get to think that wealth is primarily finances, but that's wrong. Wealth is not primarily financial. Let me say again. See, this simple statement can change your life. Wealth is not primarily financial. Money is so, I'm lacking the right word to use, but money is, see, there are things that are more powerful than money. Knowledge is more powerful than money. Relationships are more powerful than money. Ideas are more powerful than money. Why? Because when you have these things, you can attract money. Self-discipline is more powerful than money. And there are many people who have things in their lives that can attract money, but they are not engaging it. And they are living as if all of a sudden money will appear out of somewhere and change their lives. There are people that, even though you don't have money itself, but you are wealthy, the kind of ideas you have is wealth. The kind of knowledge you have is wealth. The kind or the types of people that you know and you have access to is wealth. So what I'm saying is that at its core, money is a byproduct, not a starting point. And I wish that many human beings could understand this. When I hear people give complaints of what, because saying that, oh, I'm at this place in this, I'm at this level of my life because I don't have money, I say there is so much you don't understand about life and the economy. If you come to the place where you have this proper understanding that at its core, financial wealth is a byproduct, not a starting point. It will change your financial life, I'm telling you. Why? Because you will begin to seek and ask the question, so what is my starting point? What is my starting point? It's very important because if you're somebody who studies economics, you study business frameworks, you study how human beings evolved economically and financially, you're going to see this foundational principle that value creation precedes money at all times, right? And that's why understanding the pillar of value creation and value capturing can change a lot. You see, because just coming to the point where you have this understanding and revelation that my income is tied to the level of contribution I bring to my industry or to my country can change a lot. So you begin to focus on, oh, you know what? If I want to increase my income, how can I increase my contribution to people or to institutions that can pay for what I bring? That's why somebody, I'm forgetting the book I read, somebody said, wealth begins with what you can produce, what you can solve, and what you can improve. So powerful. Wealth, your financial destiny begins to change when you understand what can I produce, what can I solve, what can I improve. It's important because if we are talking about you and I sustaining our economic value year after year and not ending up broke in this life, these are things and foundational revelations that you must not only hear me talk about, you must take down these notes, sit with yourself, look at what you're building, look at your goals, and begin to look at how do I integrate these important concepts into what I'm building. What I'm teaching you, if you ask me a personal question, how have you applied this in your destiny in what you're building? I will give you a practical template because I have sat down with myself to apply these concepts. When I read something, I come across something, it's my job to sit with myself and integrate it into what I'm building. And that is what you're supposed to do. Don't only listen to me and say, oh, maybe for those of you who are married, your wife or your husband asks you, oh, how was the mentorship call? Oh, it was powerful. Oh my goodness, that guy is on fire. So what will you do after this? You have nothing to say. You just came to listen. And that's all you do. No, then I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people who hear the statements and the concepts I share, like what I just said, where I said that uh, uh, um, your financial life begins to change with what you can produce, what you can solve, and what you can improve. I'm talking to the person who takes this concept, this simple statement, yet so powerful. They sit with themselves. They look at where they're coming from. They look at what they're building right now. They look at their goals and their vision. They begin to ask themselves a question. All right, based on what I studied in school, based on the courses I have taken, based on what I'm passionate about, what can I produce for institutions and organizations? What can I solve in this country, in this industry? What can I improve in this current dispensation of my country or my industry? Because like I said, income is tied to contribution, not intentions. Let me tell you, because you have intentions to be wealthy and financially free doesn't mean you're going to be. But can you add to your intentions contribution? It's very important. And how do you get to the place of contribution or creating value? Simple. What can I begin to produce? What can I begin to solve? What can I begin to improve? There are many of you that you have so many things to improve upon so it can become something powerful that others can pay for. All right. Now, let me go to value capturing. As I said, pillar number one is value creation and value capturing. If you want more teachings on value creation, go on my YouTube channel. All right. I want to focus on value capturing because this is something I have not taught extensively with the mentees. Now, value creation is one thing. Now, if you want to make money, you need to understand value capturing. Now, before I explain the concept of value capturing, let me give an example of value capturing. And I'll use myself, right? This teaching I'm teaching you, the title is Pillars to Sustain Economic Value in the Lives of Individuals. Now, for me to sit down, and this teaching is a product of many things: personal experience, reading books, research, what I've experienced in life, talking to people, right? Then I developed this. Now, this is value creation. So this teaching, my teaching notes right now, the idea, the revelation, the concept, all of these things is value creation. Now, how have I practiced value capturing with this one teaching? You see, this same teaching, to practice value capturing, I can do the following. Number one, I can convert this same teaching into a book and I sell it. Number two, this same teaching, I can convert it into a keynote speaking material, and they will invite me in conferences to deliver as a keynote address. Number three, this same teaching, I can convert into a 3 days workshop. Number four, this same teaching, I can record 30-minute courses and it become 7 courses, and I put it online on a platform and people begin to buy and sell. Number five, this same teaching, I can record it into a podcast. Now, one teaching, 5 different products, that's value capturing. And I can get paid from these different 5 ways. Do you get the perspective? So value capturing basically is you finding more ways to capture more value from what you have created. See, this is very important. It's like the Zoom that we're using. There is a Zoom that they use for call centers. There is a Zoom that trainers use. There's a Zoom that people use for large conferences. That's value capturing. One product, but different ways that that same product makes money. If you are going to consistently be economically powerful, you have to understand value capturing. And all of you here, whatever you're building, you can practice value capturing. You just need to sit and think and create and multiply. You see, that's why I always say that. I was talking somewhere and I said, value creation is only the beginning of wealth creation, right? Value creation is just the beginning of wealth creation. For example, you sat down and an idea came to you. Um, let me say, I don't want to pick George again. Let me pick, let me pick my sister. She's a mommy pastor, right? So let's say an idea comes to her. You know what? She's like, you know what? Young single sisters in my church are struggling to pick a good husband. They're struggling to make marital decisions. All right. It's an idea. And ideas are the beginning of value creation. But you see, idea has so much money inside. And if she begins to develop that idea into having a singles seminar for young girls in her church, that is just value creation. And that is just the beginning of wealth creation. But if she wants to practice value capturing to now make a lot of money from that basic idea, she cannot begin to think broadly. All right, you know what? instead of having this single seminar in just my church, I'm going to partner with 5 other churches and have the same seminar. So, and I charge, maybe she charges a fee in her local church for 1,000 francs. And instead of charging 1,000 francs for 10 people, in inviting other churches, you can charge 1,000 francs for 100 people. That's more money. She can decide, oh, you know what? I want to write a book for young girls on what to look at when picking a husband and what to avoid. She can sell the book, and through that book, she's been invited to speak in, relationship conferences and things like that. So she begins to just think. And the more that's why, see, an idea is so powerful. You can milk an idea into so many branches. And that's why it's good to have a sharp brain. If your brain is lazy, you cannot think like that. So if you're not a reader, that's why reading is a big culture in this community. You don't read only to know. No, when you read, you see, your brain is like a muscle. When you're reading, you're sharpening your brain and you're keeping your brain alert. When you look at things, you see so many things. Sometimes when I look at something, there's something I see that others don't see. I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? Why can't you see this? Right? So there are many of you listening to me that you have ideas that if you practice value capturing, I guarantee you can make millions in 6 months. Not to talk of in 2 years. You see that? Many intelligent people create value. Many intelligent, I see it every day. Sometimes sometimes it's on Facebook or just on WhatsApp status when I have the time. I'm like, when I see somebody's idea and I'll go ask them a few questions, they're like, I didn't see it that way. I'm like, so what did you do with this idea? You see that? Many intelligent people create value for years and they still remain financially limited because they do not understand the concept of value capturing. You see, because in simple terms, value creation is you producing usefulness. It's you taking an idea and you convert it into something useful. Like what I'm teaching you, it was just an idea that came and I began to research and write around it. And I've developed a whole, my notes are scattered. If I give you my notes, you cannot teach it because they're still scattered basically. But I know how I've developed them. But I can take these same notes, these same scattered notes, I am teaching it in the form of a master class. And it's going well. But you see, that is just value creation. Because value creation produces usefulness. So the idea of this teaching, it has produced some usefulness. And I'm now delivering it. To now practice value capturing, I can now sit with this same one concept and I can multiply it into 7 different products and services. What I'm saying is, look at yourself. There are some of you, it is what you studied in school. I'm telling you, what you studied in school, if you begin to practice value capturing, you can bring out so many useful products and services for other people and get paid. So many people end at just producing something that is useful. That is a good step. That's value creation. But you need to go further into value capturing. And this is where you just position yourself to retain some meaningful portion of the economic benefit of what you have produced. So when you look at that one thing, you begin to ask yourself, what other economic benefits can I extract from this idea? You see that? Let me go to Madame Delphine. Madame Delphine runs, you're into fashion designing, right? If I remember. remember correctly. That's fashion designing, right? Now, let's say that Madame Delphine can produce shirts, good shirts. You see, for her to be able to produce good shirts, that's value creation, right? But if she wants to practice value capturing, she needs to begin to think differently about the same shirt. What other economic benefits can I generate from this shirt that I can make? You see that? Let me go to something practical that many people do. If you're here that you give a lot of free advice to friends, family members on social media, type me in the chat box. Many people do that and they say, I'm not an expert. But you advise somebody on something. If you're here and you give, and some of you, people just naturally come to you for advice, right? They just naturally come to you for advice. All right, let me use that now. You see, there are a good number of people here. So that's a good example. Thank you, Holy Spirit. All right, that's a good example. I just failed to add to ask that. You see, many people. All right, let's talk about that. Value creation and value capturing. Let's talk about it. See, so many of you, perfect. So let's take all of you that you give brilliant advice for free every day online, WhatsApp status. Maybe you have a WhatsApp group for that, right? Family members, friends, and so on. When you're sharing those advice on social media to people on a call, in a group for free, that is value creation. That is using your mind, understanding what that's sharing with you, and you conceptualize good perspectives and good solutions, and you share with them. That is value creation, right? And that's very important. That is you creating value. So people learn from you, people grow from you, people even make money from your insights. Is there anybody here that you have ever advised somebody and they came and told you they made money from that thing? Type me in the chat box. Is there anybody here like that? You advise somebody, they went and implemented what you said, and they even came and gave a testimony that, oh, it my life, something changed, right? You see that? So it's value creation. That's value creation you do. People learn from you, people even grow from you. Maybe you do. Maybe there's somebody here that you advise somebody in their marriage, and the next day you saw the lady and the husband wearing the same dress and they're smiling because of your advice in the night. Right? They grew they grew in the marriage, right? They even make money from your insights. But listen to me. Here's where value capturing comes in. If there is no mechanism around you that can convert that usefulness. Remember, value creation is creating something useful, but you don't end there. You need to learn how to convert that usefulness into revenue platforms, into distribution channels. That's very important because if you don't do that conversion, you are going to be what I call somebody who is economically disconnected from the value that they generate. Many people are like that. They are economically disconnected from the value that they generate. You give good advice, but you have never made money from that advice. And you see this point, this is one of the major reasons that many talented people stay broke. Because their problem is not value creation. No, their problem is how do I convert this value? How do I capture this value? So basically, value capturing is you receiving benefit from the value that you created. And how do you do that? Pick that one thing that you have created. Begin to look at what are the different points? What are the different benefits? What are the different products that I can build from this one value that I have created? Because many people get to confuse between being good with being economically relevant. Many people are good, like the advices you give, they are good advices, but they are not economically relevant to you. Why? Because you are not economically positioned. So the first pillar to sustaining your economic value is learn to marry value creation and value capturing. So go back to what you're good at. Go back to what you do that even other people celebrate you for, but you never get paid for. And begin to think, begin to calculate, okay, what are the different streams of money making avenues that I can build from this? Because when you begin to capture value at different levels from that one value creation platform, you will change your financial life. Why? Because you are going to create many avenues for money to come into your life. You see that? So think through this. I'm going to give some room for us to answer some questions around this so that um, we can see if, you know, this can be practiced. But I want to challenge you. Take this back and sit with it. It will change a lot. It will change so much in what you're building. There are many of you, your problem right now is not value creation. Your problem is that you don't know how to begin to capture. And I've given you examples and I've explained value capturing. Now sit with yourself. And this where many people also fail, because many people don't like to sit and think. Thinking is one of the most difficult jobs for people. But I guarantee you that if you sit and begin to integrate what I've shared today, you can change your financial life for good. And it's the same as if these things are not the foundation of what you're building, you can go around the year and at the end you are the same and there's nothing to show for. And it is not because the world is too harsh, it's because you are in the world and you don't learn the ways of the world. I'm talking about the economic ways. I was talking to some Christians a few days ago. I said, if you're a Christian, you need to understand the way the kingdom of God works and the way the kingdom of man works. Many Christians are broke because they understand spiritual laws and spiritual realities, but they don't understand the kingdom of man. We are between two kingdoms, the kingdom of God and the kingdom of man. And if you're going to win on earth, you must be a master in all the two kingdoms. And that is your responsibility. Nobody can do that for you. All right.